What if the last place you were seen alive was a hotel where no one remembers you ever existed? I remember walking into that lobby as if it were yesterday. The air smelled faintly of chlorine from the pool, but underneath it was something else. Something metallic, almost like blood on cold keys. The receptionist smiled. Her name tag read Iris Klein. She slid the keycard across the counter, but her eyes never really looked at me. Later, she swore she never saw me at all. I took the elevator to the 3rd floor. The hallway was too quiet. No footsteps, no muffled TVs behind the doors, just the hum of the lights overhead. My suitcase wheels echoed against the carpet like I was dragging chains. When I unlocked room 316, the door didn't feel like it wanted to open. I remember thinking, why does it feel heavier on the inside than out? I should have called my sister, Mara, right then. But instead, I placed the phone face down on the nightstand. That was the last time my voice left a trace. Hours later, a guest across the hall, Darren Cole, said he saw me leaving. He told police I was calm, smiling even. But I never left that room. And here's the part no one can explain. On the footage, I check in. On the footage, I take the elevator. But after that, I vanish. The hotel swears the room was empty. The bed untouched. The bathroom dry. No trace of me ever being there at all. So tell me, if I checked in, why did I never check out? What if the first person searching for you swore they found signs that the police insisted weren't there? I wasn't supposed to know her name, but it was in the case files. Detective Laura Finch, the first officer sent to investigate the complaint that a guest had disappeared without checking out. She told her partner the strangest thing. The carpet outside room 316 was damp. Only in that spot. No spills, no leaks, just a darkened patch like something heavy had been dragged across it. But when she returned with the hotel manager an hour later, the stain was gone. Clean, dry, as if it had never existed. Laura remembered touching the door handle. It was still warm, like someone had gripped it hard, only moments before. She swore she smelled perfume inside. Faint, flowery, clinging to the curtains. But the official report stated the room was spotless. No scent, no warmth, no trace of anyone ever entering. The part that stayed with her, though, wasn't in the file. She confessed years later in a hushed interview, "I heard someone whisper my name in that room, and no one knew I was assigned to it yet." When her partner asked why she left that detail out of the report, she gave the kind of answer that chills you. Because it wasn't possible. And I needed to keep my job. So the case moved forward without it. And with that silence, the trail grew colder. But Laura kept one thing to herself. Something she never told the hotel, the press, or her own chief. Inside the bathroom of room 316, hidden under the sink, she found a woman's shoe. One that never made it into evidence. What if the man accused of knowing too much swore he never even stayed in that hotel? My name was on the guest list. Darren Cole, room 318, right across from the one that went missing. But the truth? I never remember checking in. They showed me the logbook. My signature was there. The clerk identified me. Even the camera caught me holding a keycard. But I swear, I wasn't there. I was supposed to be on the road, miles away, selling kitchenware door to door. Yet somehow, I woke up in that bed with the television still on. The blue glow flickering across my face. The investigators asked if I saw the woman. The one they said vanished. They told me she walked right past my door. Maybe I did. But every time I try to remember her face, I see someone different. Blonde, brunette, short, tall. Like my own memory is working against me. And then there was the sound. At 2:37 a.m., something heavy hit the wall behind my headboard. Once, then silence. I thought maybe it was just pipes. Maybe it was nothing. But when I checked the next morning, there was a crack in the plaster. The faint outline of a hand pressed into it. I never told the police about that. Not until years later. And by then, the wall had already been painted over. But here's the part that terrifies me most. On the nightstand next to my bed was a second keycard. One I didn't ask for. And it wasn't for my room. It was for 316. What if the only proof someone existed was erased before you could even touch it? I'm Detective Valerie Hart, the one who opened the case file everyone else wanted to forget. Room 316 wasn't just empty. It was scrubbed. The sheets bleached twice, the curtains replaced, even the carpet patched in one square beneath the window. Too clean, cleaner than any hotel ever bothers to be. The clerk told me it was standard maintenance. But when I asked for the surveillance footage, he flinched. Said the system had glitched that night. I didn't believe him. I went to the archive room, pulled the drive myself, and scrolled frame by frame. Hallways full of guests. Elevators opening and closing. Staff moving carts. And then, at 2:37 a.m., the feed jumped. 3 minutes gone. Just static. But here's the part that kept me awake. When the image returned, room 316's door was slightly open, and a shadow was visible inside. Not walking out, not walking in, just standing. The guest register swore the room was booked under a woman's name. But when I ran it through state records, that woman didn't exist. Phantom tenant, a vanishing file, and a shadow that never left the room. That was the night I realized. Someone wasn't just missing. Someone was erasing. What if the truth lived in your memory? Yet every word you spoke put your life in danger. My name is Isabel Cruz, and for 10 years I've cleaned rooms no one remembers. But I can't forget 316. That morning, I unlocked the door before anyone else touched it. The smell hit me first. Not bleach, not soap, but metal. Sharp, heavy, like pennies soaked in warm water. I froze. On the dresser, the TV remote was balanced on its side, as if someone set it there mid-motion. The chair was angled toward the window, though no one sat in it. And the bed, looked slept in but only on one side. The pillow carried a faint smear, the kind no detergent can erase. I told the manager. He told me never to repeat what I saw. Said the guest had already checked out, and the less I remembered, the safer I'd be. He even made me sign a form that morning, my hands shaking as the pen scratched across the paper. But here's the part one can't silence. When I rolled the laundry cart down the hallway, a man I'd never seen before brushed past me. He didn't look at me, didn't speak, just slipped a hotel keycard into his pocket. The exact deep blue of room 316. And when I glanced back, the manager was watching, nodding as if everything was expected. That was the day I realized. It wasn't the guests who vanished. It was the staff who were forced to forget. What happens when the words someone tried to bury crawl back into daylight? That's what unfolded the morning Isabel's testimony slipped through the cracks. A local reporter, Naomi Green, stood outside the hotel with a microphone trembling in her hand. Her broadcast wasn't supposed to mention staff, but someone had mailed her an envelope, and signed, unmarked, containing Isabel's statement. The effect was instant. Crowds gathered at the curb, pressing against yellow tape. Guests checked out in panic, dragging suitcases across the lobby like the walls themselves had turned against them. Inside the precinct, Detective Paul Mercer replayed Naomi's segment frame by frame. The details cut deeper than the case file. The metallic odor, the stained pillow, the stranger with a blue keycard. Every word painted a picture his reports had carefully left blank. The police chief demanded silence. The hotel chain threatened legal action. But Naomi's voice had already slipped into every living room. By noon, Isabel's memory wasn't just a secret. It was evidence. And panic rippled further when someone noticed a small detail Naomi hadn't circled but couldn't erase. The remote, standing on its side. Because months earlier, in a different county, another missing person case left behind the exact same signature. This wasn't a coincidence. It was a pattern. What if the trail you thought led to justice only circled back to the place it began? The night after Naomi's broadcast, the hotel stood abandoned. Lights flickering through empty halls, chairs overturned where guests had fled. But someone hadn't left. Security guard Evan Rowe was the last man on duty. He swore he heard voices echoing from room 316. Though every door was locked, every corridor cleared. He followed the sound, step by step, until it cut off in a silence so sharp it felt alive. When he pushed the master key into the door, the lock clicked open without resistance. The room smelled of bleach, heavy and recent, as though someone had tried too hard to erase what once lingered there. On the nightstand sat a single object, a remote, balanced perfectly on its side, and next to it another keycard. This one wasn't blue. It was red. The number embossed across the front wasn't 316. It was 417. A room no one on record had ever checked into. The police sealed the hotel that night, but whispers claim the lock on 417 has never worked the same. And the guests who ask about it? They're told the same thing every time. There is no room 417. Skull, that's where the trail ends, on a door that shouldn't exist, and a silence that refuses to fade. Subscribe to the Veil of Secret because the stories others bury we bring to light.